Well, I had a little bit of an abrupt end to this trip. Welcome to Clinton, Oklahoma. I'm here next to the Pioneer Man, and we're going to explore along an abandoned railroad line today that basically starts here in Clinton. So this is the Frisco Center, and the Frisco Center was named after the Frisco Railroad. And it's a famous railroad across the country, but it was very important for the growth of the town of Clinton, and as you'll see, the demise of a lot of little dots on the map. So we're gonna kind of explore around this railroad from here up to Enid, Oklahoma, and see what we can find. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here in Clinton, as we're gonna feature Clinton in another video as we're on Route 66. So as we're exploring down Route 66, we'll profile that at another time. It's very cool, it's got a great downtown, and very historic place. But let's head north out of Clinton and explore all the forgotten places between here and Enid. We're just right over there in downtown, and this is Frisco Avenue, and this is just on kind of the eastern side of town, and you can see there's a Clinton sign. Guessing there probably was an old depot around here somewhere, and you can see the old red brick, and then they have a little nod to the history of the railroad here. Kind of interesting because it's tucked away back here, so not much of a museum or anything like that. But yeah, this is where we're going to start, and then we're going to head north in that direction. Look at those clouds. So you can see where we're at in Clinton there, and you can see the railroad highlighted in yellow. And our first town is going to be Arapaho. We're here in Custer County. And then as it winds up there, up by the letter B, that's Custer City. So we're going to see those towns first. Our first town we're exploring is Arapaho. This is the county seat of Custer County, even though it's only the fourth largest town in the county. It's named for the Arapaho tribe. The town came into existence in 1892, the day of the Cheyenne-Arapaho land opening. The word Arapaho means blue sky men or blue cloud men. Arapaho was designated as the county seat of G County, which later became Custer County in 1896. On the day of the land opening, 400 people staked town lots and a tent city was born. Because it was midway between El Reno and Cheyenne, it was a stopping point for travelers and freighters. On several occasions, residents fought to retain the county seat. They competed against much larger Clinton and Custer City, which we'll be seeing next, during elections in 1908, 1909, and 1921. Clinton, who was the strongest competitor, eventually conceded that the offices should remain in Arapaho. So you see population after the statehood in 1907 went up to 713. It went down quite a bit. Actually, in 1950 was 311 and has shot back up, peaked in 1980 at 851. Definitely a rainy day so far, so that's where we were just at, that direction, and kind of go through some back roads, and trying to stay off the back roads today because this rain's going to make that Oklahoma back roads pretty rough. And this is going into Custer City. We'll go check out the town here in a minute. But you can see the elevators and where the railroads would have kind of branched off here a little bit. It's interesting to try to figure out where the depot might have been. A lot of the depots are long gone, but probably not too far from this area. But the town's just a little bit past that, so let's go check it out. Custer City was originally known as Graves. Post office was established in 1894 in the dugout home of Philip Graves, who served as the first postmaster. He had participated in the Cheyenne-Arapaho land opening in 1892. In 1904, the post office changed to Custer City in honor of Colonel George Custer. The town site was opened for settlement in July 1902 when the Frisco Town Site Company sold lots. When a railroad bypassed the nearby community of Independence, the citizens moved here to Custer City. During the first school term in 1902, children had their education in a sod schoolhouse. By 1912, the town had electricity. At the turn of the 21st century, Custer City became a bedroom community mostly. 89% of employed residents commuted to Arapaho, Clinton, or Weatherford. You can see the population there just after statehood was at its highest at 854. Gradually went down, went up a little in 1980, and then has continued to decrease. 367 is the smallest it's ever been.
Leaving Custer City, as you follow our highlighted railroad that we're going to be going on, you can see there at Foley, it splits. When I get there, I accidentally say Fay. That's another town later in the video. But there at Foley, we're going to see if we can find where it splits there. And you can see how the one railroad goes to the left of Thomas and ours goes to the right. So we're coming up the Highway 33 right there. And there's no evidence of Fay, even though it's on the map. And I saw this little flag right here in a little path. So I drove up here. Give you the experience of coming up through here for the first time too. Because this is right on the dot where Fay is on my map. And it's where the railroad would have split. And there it is. We got a train right there. So it's coming from Custer City right there. And then we're going to follow the one to the right. And then the one to the left. So these are both going to go up to our next town of Thomas. One's going to go on the east side, one's going to go to the west side, but then they're going to split off from there and go in different directions. So probably was never a town. It never had a post office, but they probably needed something maybe to designate where the railroad split. So pretty neat.
Our next town that we're rolling into is Thomas, and I already did a video about Thomas and put that out about a week or so ago. So if you want to learn more about Thomas, you can watch that video. Also, if it looks like a different day, it's because it is. It was raining so much, I just decided to pull the plug and come back the next day. So hopefully we'll have a little more clear skies, and maybe we can get the drone up at some point here, although it is really, really windy. But that is to be expected in Oklahoma. So on with the trip.
Right at the northeastern corner of Custer County, you can see how we're going to cross over the Canadian River. And you see that little dot of Cody. We'll see if we can find anything there. And then we will go to Fay, which I said for Foley, but there is actually the little community of Fay that is right on the border with Dewey County.
Coming down the lonely dirt road here to the railroad, and then there's a little path there that's private property, but this is where Cody was, or at least this is the closest I can get to it. I believe it went down the way just a little bit more. Looking at the map, looks like it went down the way a little bit further down that way. And it's kind of right on a creek, and so possibly was a late 1800s, early 1900s settlement because of the location there. That would have been often where they were, and then the railroad came through. But obviously from here can't see anything. Let's see if we can find anything with the drone.
the corner of Main and Custer, and it's not too much here, although there is an old building right there. Looks like it's part of what was formerly maybe a more significant main street. So Fay is unincorporated, but they have a post office right over there, and it's been an open post office since 1894. Not this post office, but they've had one here since 1894. So built along the railroad, obviously, that we're following, and faded out over time, kind of like some of the other towns that we have seen and we'll see more of. But this is about the only old building in the Main Street area. We'll see what else is in and around town. And after the railroad's been kind of winding around a little bit, you can see it's going to straighten out as we get into Blaine County there near Eagle City. We're going to head to Carleton and Southard. Our next lonely town along the railroad here, this is Eagle City. You can see the abandoned railroad section here, at least the part in Eagle City. So very similar to our last town of Fay, and in terms of houses around here and not much left, but the difference is Fay still has a post office and Eagle City does not. So I feel like there's probably been more people leave Eagle City. And it was called Dillon, D-I-L-L-O-N, from 1902 to 1909, changed it to Eagle City. And then post office closed here in 1979. So it was open for 70 years. There's a few houses down the way, a couple abandoned buildings as well, but kind of starting to see a theme down this railroad. And this is remarkable to find a school like this that's got the gymnasium kind of intact. I've played in schools like this growing up, like junior highs. They have the stage where that's where the students would sit, wooden backboards. Old scoreboard. Pretty cool. Next up on our map is Carleton, and there's nothing here. No houses, just the railroad. Carleton on the map is somewhere around here. But what you can see is, see right there where there's like a siding onto the right. And I drove down that road a little bit, and it goes on down along the railroad. So obviously that would have been where there may have been a depot, or just where they got off and loaded things up. So I'm guessing right here there used to be something, but there's nothing anymore. And Carleton had a post office from 1902 to 1957. That's about all I could find. I couldn't really find much out about Southard, but obviously it's along the railroad and had a post office from 1905 is all I could find. So I get over here and there's a giant gypsum plant right there. And there's some remnants of the railroad right here. They still have the name Southard on there, so that's cool. You can see some cars still on the tracks. So I go over there because I read that there's a post office still, but I couldn't find anything. And I found a couple buildings there, and then I saw a rock, a big gypsum rock, and it had a plaque on it. It said a guy with the last name of Southard started an independent gypsum company, 1905 to 1912. And then it was bought by U.S. Gypsum. So there you go, that's how it got its name. And man, it is getting windy, that's all I gotta tell you. But yeah, cool to find a little bit of history there, and to find that. Heading out Southard, couple twists and turns as we go over to Darrow, and then into the next incorporated town of O'Keene. Up the line, this is where Darrow was. Darrow, looks like a farm of some sort. This is Brickman over there. I drove by, it says Brickman. They got a cool little sign. But Darrow came along when this railroad came along, and had a post office from 1905 to 1918. Even had a newspaper for about 3 or 4 years there. So they must have had some kind of population to have a post office, but you know, it's just kind of out here and not needed anymore in terms of, you know, a railroad stop. So it probably lost its population when roads started being formed. There's a road that's kind of that way. There's more of a main road heading over to Keene, and so kind of bypassed Darrow over here. We're rolling along now. The next town is O'Keene, and this is another one that I've done a video about previously. Small Town USA video. Did a whole deep dive exploration of the town. So if you're interested in learning about the next town on this railroad, you can check that out and then come back and we'll rejoin at Piper. Getting towards the end of the trip here. We're going to head out of O'Keene, check out what it says there at Piper Siding, see if we can find anything around Lindley or Magruder, and then on into Ames. This is where it says Piper Siding, and nothing here except some cows. And you know, as it's saying Piper Siding, It probably is just a place to load up some of your, agricultural product back in the day. And so they had a siding here, and that's it. Probably no town. It didn't have a post office. Could not find anything to set a post office, but I did find over here on the fence it says Piper. Maybe the family that owned this forever was named Piper, or at least for 100 and plus years. So that's pretty cool. Little nod to what's on the map, but that's the only thing I can find.
Really interesting drive through Magruder, and I didn't know anything about it. I couldn't find anything about it. No post office information. I saw there were a couple lakes. I saw the railroad went right through there. Actually, I tried to find Lindley, and I couldn't go down the road that was nearest to that. So I don't know if anything about Lindley. So if anybody knows about Lindley or Magruder, let me know. It makes me think of Magruder, like Saturday Night Live. But pretty nice place. There's houses, there's a community, there's 2 lakes, and they're separated by the railroad tracks. So I don't know if there was ever a railroad stop here, or if it just, these lakes were formed and they built around the lakes. So it's really pretty and interesting. And if anybody is from Magruder watching this, let me know in the comments.
And here's an incorporated town. This is Ames. So Ames was founded at the opening of the Cherokee Outlet in 1893. Originally called this town Hoyle for a nearby creek, but in 1902 they changed the name to Ames after Henry Ames, a railroad official, and that would have been right at the time that the railroad we've been following all day would have come through Ames. So it was fairly small, its whole duration of its life here. In 1940 that was the largest it was ever been at 332, got back up over 300 in 1980, but has dropped off. Our last census at 193 was the smallest it's ever been. Even though it's very small, it does have a couple of museums. There's a car museum that was not open on this day, but there is also one other thing to see here after showing you a tour of the town. And here's the Ames Astroblem Museum. It's right next to a little military park that's nicely done for such a small town. But this little museum was opened in 2007, features numerous image panels and a video showing the formation of the Ames crater and its discovery as a significant geological and economic resource. The crater was caused by a meteor striking the area 450 million years ago, and the town of Ames is located approximately in the middle of the crater. The crater is 8 miles in diameter and is similar to craters on the moon. It's one of the few oil-producing craters in the world.
450 million years ago, long before the dinosaurs roamed the earth, when Oklahoma was covered by an ancient sea, a meteorite approximately 1,000 feet in diameter traveling at speeds of over 70,000 miles per hour, slammed into the earth at the current town site of Ames, Oklahoma.
Well, I had a little bit of an abrupt end to this trip. I got a flat tire in Ames. I was driving around and the gauge looked low, and sure enough, I had a slow leak there that turned into a little bit of a quicker leak, and had to put a donut on it. So I'm 150 miles from home, and probably not a great idea to get to have a donut for that long of a drive. And so, but I'm filming this on a Monday. It's Monday pretty late, and so everything's closed. So I call, I'm not too far from Enid, so I call a place called 580 Wrecker or 580 Towing or something like that. Really super nice guy. Couldn't help me in terms of, like, I was thinking about, I'll just get a new tire, or not a new tire, maybe like they'll have some sort of a swap. I can get like a used tire just to get me to Wichita before I can buy a new one. And so he gave me the phone number of another place, recommended that they'd be able to help me out. So I call him, they're closed, but the guy was gonna come meet me at, his shop. And I get there, and it's called 4J's, and guy was super nice. And unfortunately, because I have a 4-wheel drive vehicle, they just didn't have the right tire in stock right now. And so the debate for me was to either stay the night in Enid or limp my way home to Wichita. So I'm gonna limp home. And we'll probably be fine. I'll just get out and check it every once in a while, make sure I get home. But getting back to the trip, it was fun. I didn't get to go to Drummond. That was basically the last town, and then there was a siding called, I think, IMO, maybe EMO, and so I wasn't able to do those two. I drove through Drummond, but I was on my way to get to Enid, and so I'll check out Drummond another time. But it was really interesting, from the rain early on to the wind was incredible today, but just learning about all these towns and seeing kind of the aftermath of when the railroads aren't needed anymore in some of these places. The gymnasium in Eagle City was spectacular, and Fay, that was a cool little town. And there was just a lot of great towns, some of them incorporated, some of them unincorporated, some of them ghost towns, and it was a really fun trip. So hope you enjoyed it. It was a little bit of start and stop, and I'm now kind of limping on the way home, but definitely enjoyable. It's more about the journey than the destination sometimes, and the journey in this trip has been a lot of fun. So hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time down a back road.
A little addition to the end of the video here. On top of having the donut on my car and having to drive pretty slow all the way home, I had this lightning show to give me some entertainment on the way home. Something that you see every once in a while out in this part of the country. It's pretty cool, actually. It did not rain a single drop on my drive home, but thought you might enjoy some of the sights in the darkness that would become light here every once in a while.
Now that you made it to the end of that video, let me tell you about some of the extras on the channel. One of the things you can do is become a member. There are 3 levels of support. There's supporter, producer, and executive producer levels. All 3 have different levels of fun incentives and perks. If you haven't done so, please check out travelwiththewiseguy.com. There are lots of extras on there to explore. One of them is merchandise. We have Travel with the Wise Guy coffee mugs, Death Go Round t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and all sorts of fun things to show your support of this channel. Also on the website is a custom Google map. I've dropped pins in every place I've visited and linked the episode to each location. This seems to be a very popular feature for many of you. Also, sign up for my free newsletter that goes out about once a month. There are all sorts of links and tidbits on this page, old videos, podcasts, and just about everything I can think of I throw on the website. For all that information and more, go to travelwiththewiseguy.com. And now, the reason you're probably here, the outtakes. Welcome to, where am I at? Clinton, okay.
Well, this Death Go Round has seen better days. This setting with the school is pretty awesome though. So we're gonna give it a 6 for just how cool this setting is. Unfortunately, that's about it. This community of Ames is pretty cool and they got a Death Go Round. Let's go check it out. The wind is blowing so strong it's pretty much turning it without my help. That spins really well. It's just good, solid blue color. Got some old playground equipment, some new. Ames is doing good. 7.6.